Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I kind of doubt anyone's gonna pop in here live unannounced on a Friday afternoon, but hey, you never know. Maybe someone will show up, but you're probably going to be watching this later. I did want to just address something that's come up a bunch because I've put out a bunch of different videos and different things on theories that I have come up with from the thrill of the chase, and people asking, what if you're right? What if these ideas that you have leads to the treasure? Well, that's obviously a possibility. I have been out to look 3 times in the area where I think it is. Hey, what's up, Shannon? Good to see you. Glad you're here. So I've been out like 3 times in this area to look. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think it's there. I would still go out if I had the time to go explore these areas. So if you do find it using any of my ideas, send me a nugget or something, or at least give me some credit that I helped you find it. Because honestly, the big thing is I haven't heard anyone else think that oh yeah, thanks. You like that? It's actually a tied one too. It's the real deal. The home of Brown really is I think the big difference. And I'm not discounting the people that say that Hebgen Lake is the home of Brown. It very well could be. There's a bunch of stuff downstream from there that really does fit with that next stanza, right? So the no place for the meek, the end ever drawing nigh, be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If a lake behind a dam doesn't qualify as heavy loads and water high, I don't know what does, right? Like that just makes sense. Now, I think that he's very careful. I don't think that any of it references a dam. I don't know, but I've thought that would be a pretty good fit. But I'm sharing these things that I am because one, when I get your feedback about those things, it helps me assess and be more realistic about my ideas. Then I'm able to be, just genuinely about myself or my own ideas. It's really hard to self-assess whether or not you're just over in Crazyville and like mayor of Crazy Town, or if it's maybe a legitimate possibility, right? So, like for one instance, Sledneck, who I don't know his real name, but I think he lives in West Yellowstone. And he like runs tours, like snowmobile tours into the park, super familiar with that area. He was watching it and he's like, well, we don't really call it, the Madison Canyon. We call it the Madison Meadow or whatever it is, that sort of stuff is really helpful to hear. Maybe that's not the canyon. Maybe that's not what's being talked about. So keep your comments coming, keep the feedback coming. I think it's really helpful. And honestly, hopefully these videos do help somebody find it. I know this sounds ridiculous, but like a bunch of people have died looking for this thing, and I'm kind of over that. I would like if nobody else lost their lives. Now, I think the number one way for that to happen is for people to just not make poor choices, right? Don't go buy a Walmart raft and try to float down the Rio Grande in the spring runoff. Like, we know that, right? Like, we're not making poor choices like that. Don't break the law. Don't go places you're not supposed to. Don't do things you're not supposed to do. Search with the partner. Forrest has so many good ideas and suggestions to be safe while you're out there looking for this thing. So please keep that in mind, right? But along with that, once this thing is found, then that's another way of keeping people safe. So, and I'm cool with that. Like if my stuff that I put out helps somebody, connect the dots that I'm not able to connect, then more power to you. I've watched a lot of other people's things, a lot of people that have been listening a lot longer than I have. And if I were to find it, I'd be benefiting from those people's research as well, the things that they've put out. And I would definitely share what I found with those people, right? Just like you're going to with me. Whatever. That's up to each person or the one person that actually finds it. But it's a ton of fun. It's a lot of fun to research these things. We've all learned a lot about the different things that we've researched. And if you've gone boots on the ground, then you've for sure had some pretty cool experiences being out there. But I think that it's just a risk that we take in putting stuff out that, yeah, we might be right about something and it might lead to the actual finding of the treasure. And if it's not, if it doesn't lead to the person who came up with the idea's finding of it, then that's just kind of tough luck. That's just that's part of the game. But I put this stuff out there because it helps me think through it. And then, like I said, just getting the feedback from you guys, I think is really helpful. And I really appreciate that. So, and if I hadn't been out there to look, I would be honestly, I'd be way more hesitant to do it. But I've been out there to look, and there's not a lot of place there where he could hide it, and where it would make sense. So even though I do believe in my solve up to a certain point, it breaks down in the sense that I haven't found the treasure. And so that's where I'm throwing this stuff out there. And I have a couple of other videos that I plan to do on that next stanza. From there, it's no place for the meek. I've got some ideas on that. And I'd love to get your feedback on that once I do get those videos. I don't know, probably next week sometime. Take the weekend off here and think about whether or not I should have put this stuff out at all. But there are some other things, though, that I do want to hold closer to the chest that I think probably would be also very helpful for people. But again, because I haven't found it, those are things that I don't really want to reveal yet. But these other things, even being out there, okay, and I've had some communication with Forrest and in that area, and having been out in that area now a couple of times, I just can't shake the feeling that it's really close. I can't help shaking the feeling that that the clues line up in that particular area just a little bit too well. Even little things like when he talks about going to Borders twice. Well, right there by Baker's Hole, the river goes over the boundary line of Yellowstone twice. Little things like that I don't know, it just makes me go, is it potentially the place that he's talking? When he's in that area on the Madison. I don't know why, but he does. Maybe it's just because that's a place that he goes to in his mind. I had a couple places when I was a kid like that where I would go, and they are special to me. One of them I tried to go back to not that long ago, and it was so different. It had changed so much that I couldn't even get there. It no longer existed, and that was just that was sad for me. Now the only place that I can. The only way I can find that place is in my memory. And, the thing that I try to keep in mind, the thing I try to, just hold in tension is that this was a place he wanted his bones to rest when he thought he was going to just throw himself on top of the treasure chest. What kind of place would that be? And that place that holds very special memories is what stands out to me. That's what I can't help but thinking about. So we do have some people that joined us. Hey, everybody. So Odious Soul is here. Hey, Shannon. Utz. I don't know. Shannon. We'll call you Odious Soul. That's easier. Hydro Makers is here. Hello, Joe. That's fine. I leave the L off sometimes too. And then Dirk the Daring, who had some other comments on some of my other videos. Thanks, Dirk, for your input. Appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are here. Any feedback on my recent videos? The last two, the Warm Waters Halt video or either the Homo Brown video. I have some other thoughts on the Homo Brown and why I think that is, and the kind of the barnyard connection that Fenn talks about. There's a couple of other times that he's talked about Bessie and the barn and different things. Shannon says, I say it differently when I say Shannon Utz versus when I say Utz. No right or wrong way. Nice. Okay, so I'm not the only one that's messing it up. Good deal. That means that you'll be like a super searcher, like Dale or Dal. I think that's a prerequisite for being in that elite searcher category, is to have a really hard to pronounce name. So good job. Alan K says, love the Google Earth flybys. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I love, going through that and seeing some of the different things. looking at the different perspectives in Google Earth with that terrain view on can be pretty helpful. So I like doing that. So thanks for commenting on that. Dirk, that area has been searched to death is a big problem I see. So Dirk, I agree, right? So that area has definitely been searched a bunch, right? So maybe that says that what we're really looking for is something that's very similar to this somewhere else in the Rockies. And that's something that I haven't pointed out yet in my videos, right? In trying to make the connections between the thrill of the chase and a actual physical location that he talks about that we all know, that maybe the connection there, the way that it lines up and how those things fit together, that leads us to another place that's like that he discovered that reminds him of this place where he spent his childhood. I don't know. Maybe that's the connection, because I agree that place has been searched a ton, and so there's let's just be honest. There's a really good chance that it's not there, right? There's just not enough square footage there. So I agree with that. I can say it that way because in a sub to your channel. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Hydro. DeCall. Hey, DeCall. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. Bringing back the Orville Redenbacher look. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not an heir to that empire, either with the money or popcorn. I would go for either. So you can send me either of those things. You can send me money or popcorn. Feel free to. Definitely a connection to a place in New Mexico for where warm waters halt. Yeah, it's very possible, Dirk. There's a lot of people that have ideas for where warm waters halt in New Mexico. And just as an aside, one of those people was Cynthia Meacham, who has actually now given up searching in New Mexico because she exhausted all of her warm waters halt in that state. But you know what? She didn't find it. None of us have. So there's obviously a lot of possibilities out there and a lot of things that are yet to be discovered, right? So Odious says, and the river in that area has been known to change course. That worries on the longevity of it staying exactly where he put it. I agree, Shannon, on that. I do agree on that. I, however, take Fenn's statements about what's going to happen with the treasure and the clues and their longevity. I take that a little bit differently than other people. I hear a lot of people say, oh, that's not going to be there in 1,000 years. I don't take what Forrest has said about the location of the treasure or the clues to mean that they are absolutely going to be around that long. In fact, he said that the location of the clues, some of them existed when he was a child, but some of them didn't. And he thinks they might be around in 100 years, but by the next millennium, it'll probably have changed by then. That tells me that, it's, obviously nothing is guaranteed, right? And not only is nothing guaranteed, but it seems like he may be expecting it to change. And if you put it in the mountains, especially, there are always forest fires, rock slides, earthquakes, super volcanoes, whatever. And that's, there is an aspect to it though, where it's probably not in a place that's going to be privately developed, okay, or transferred via ownership to someone else. So I know, some people go so far as to think maybe it's on private land. I don't think that it's probably on private land unless he already owns it and it's not going to transfer ownership. DeCall says, one cool axe dude right there. So DeCall, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not very good at wielding an axe. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to explain that. Explain that to me. What do you mean? I accept the compliment if it's a compliment, but I'm not sure what you're referencing. Unless you're referencing the picture of the guy with the axe. I'm pretty slow for a lawyer. Sorry that I didn't get that to call. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. But there may be kids watching, so thanks for cleaning up your language for everybody. I appreciate that. I think I've had a lot of fun in the search the last couple of months. And I think part of that has been just getting to know different people and getting to interact with them. So I'll take a second here to plug the Thrill of the Chase, a Forrest Fenn community on Facebook that I've set up. Focuses on positive interactions with other people. I think that that's probably the largest thing that I've gotten out of the search recently is just the fun of interacting with other people and trying to be an encouragement to them, not only in the search, but just in their lives, that people really matter. So I'll say this, right? So this week we've had Kate Spade and now Anthony Bourdain, who both taken their lives. That is just crazy to me. And it's really sad because those are people that have so much value, that have made such an impact on people's lives. And yet they were in a place where they felt like that was all they could do. And so I really encourage people, if you're in a position like that, reach out and get help. There are people that care about you. You don't have to go through those hard things alone. You can reach out to me through that Facebook group. I'll talk to you. I care about you. I'm glad you're involved in this. That just makes me really sad to see when stuff like that happens. So I know that's totally not seemingly disconnected from the chase, but in some other ways I think it is connected, because that's part of Forrest's journey, right? His journey of recognizing that, man, people are just so much more important than they realize. We're connected in a way that is so much more important, right? No man is an island. Who does the bell ring for? It rings for me, right? It's not ringing for someone else. We're all connected, and I really appreciate Forrest emphasizing that. Jimmy Fast says, just like Robin Williams. Yeah, exactly. There's another instance, right? Someone who brought so much joy to so many people. It's something else, and I'd love to see. Maybe even if we as a community could help those people out and let them know that they're not alone, and that they have so much value, So Adventurer, who does have one of the cooler nicknames in the search. Good job, Adventurer. Way to go. Here from Washington. I'm sure you said it multiple times, but I haven't heard it. Where are you from? I haven't actually said it multiple times, but I'm from Minnesota. I live in the state of Minnesota. I actually currently live in northern Minnesota, up near the Canadian border. Well, not really that close. I'm like an hour and a half from the Canadian border. Kind of depends on how you go. But I'm in what's called the Iron Range of Minnesota. It's a big mining area, and I'm going to turn you up there. From the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, originally. Big Vikings fan. So if you happen to have the connection to Vikings tickets, you can also send that to me. I happily accept those from anybody that wants to send them. That's my impersonation of Mike Cowling from Calazars. He said to just tell people the things I like, and maybe they'll send it to you for sharing the stuff that you do online about the search. So Jimmy Fast says, yeah, you betcha. Exactly. Yes, the Minnesota accent is alive and well in Minnesota, especially for the people that just stepped off the boat. They got the big, Minnesota accent, don't you know? Fenn Treasure Hunter says, sweet bow tie. Hey, Fenn Treasure Hunter, way to go. Did you give away that flag yet? Is that thing still in the process of being given away? That thing's sweet, by the way. Excellent job on that. Jason Hilgerson's here. Hello. Thanks for showing up. So since a bunch of people are now in the room, this is kind of fun for a little lunchtime break. It's good to see you guys. Make sure you drop a note, say hello, let people know you're here. I've got a cookbook signed by Jared Allen, 69. Oh, yeah, man. He was awesome. I don't know if you saw Jared Allen's retirement video, but he literally rode off on a horse into the sunset. He had someone videotape him saying that it was going to be his retirement, and he literally rode off into the sunset. How cool is that? I mean, he's a great guy, a great defensive end. It was a real loss when we lost him. Hey, Journeyman, glad you're here. Alan K. Yes, I did. He's from my hometown. Oh, wow. So maybe that's probably why you have a cookbook signed by him. That's pretty fun. I would be interested to know what kind of recipes are in a Jared Allen cookbook. I'm guessing a lot of pretty hearty meals would be included in there. That's interesting. So Hydromaker says, let's simplify the first couple of lines of his poem. Anybody? So yeah, any ideas on how to simplify that? I've given basically my ideas, and that is to kind of read it at face value. I'm taking the first couple of lines to mean that he's describing his special place before giving the particular clues of how to get there. And I think he's saying that it's a place that he's gone both alone and because there was very few people there, and then also with his treasure when he's being very bold because he was maybe not alone. It's a place now where there's a lot of people, or a place that a lot of people go. What kind of lawyer are you? Any help for the finder? Yeah, I am a property lawyer. I work with real estate, estate planning, probate, that kind of stuff, but only licensed in Minnesota. So unless you find the treasure and you live in Minnesota, probably not going to be a whole lot of help to you. I plan to be a lot of help to myself because I plan to find it. So you better get out there and beat me to it somewhere in the mountains. And if it's in New Mexico, you'll probably beat me to it because I'm not looking there. Hydromakers then talks about as I've gone alone in there with my treasure is bold. He said he made 2 trips one afternoon with the treasure. He has to be talking about the same event. I agree. I think that he went. I do think he went there twice. However, I think in the poem, I don't think he's talking about. That's not the 2 times that I'm taking it to mean. Could be totally wrong, but that's not how I'm taking it. Fenn Treasure Hunter says spot on with the simplify analysis. I agree. He said, so what did he say? Up until this point, I've been hesitant to tell people to get back in the box. But, when people start coming up with these ridiculous things, I think he kind of, he was looking from the outside and saying, I never intended it to be that way. So that's why I try to read the book. I try to find the clues or the hints sprinkled throughout the book to try to help figure out the poem. That's my particular bent on it. And lots of different people have lots of different ideas on that. So Adventurer says, what does your knowledge of law tell you about transferring ownership of the chest? Have you looked into each state to see if there is some sort of document that can make it an easy transfer? It's personal property. So it's a inter vivos gift during the life, possibly not inter vivos. Yeah, so I don't know. Hold on one second.
I'm just going to go off.
Oh, great. Sounds good.
So I'll just do this one.
Yep, perfect. So yeah, I don't know. It is, there's as far as I know, it wouldn't really matter on the state. But again, I'm not giving legal advice. So I would encourage you to look into that for yourself. But yeah, I don't think that it's as complicated as people make it out to be. He said, if you can find it, you can have it. So get out there and find it. And then I'm guessing he may have put something in there that'll help make that a little bit easier. So that's all I'll say about that. But I do think that that's the case. So what else is going to say? Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I don't pretend to be an expert on this. There are so many people that have so much more information, background information, or have researched so much more, know so many more things than I do. I think that you would do really well to go back, and I know other people have said this, but watch anything or listen to anything specifically from Forrest. Dale has a bunch of videos on his site of Forrest talking about other stuff, the Santa Fe interviews, the fish videos, lots of different things. Go and watch those if you haven't seen those and just get to know him a little bit better. I think that's very helpful to do that. Jimmy Fast says, is the chest taxable or tax-free? Fenn did give us title to the gold. Jimmy. So I will give you a lesson on tax. All accessions to wealth are taxable under the U.S. tax code. there are a lot of ways to make things not taxable, but it doesn't matter what it is. If it increases your wealth, it's taxable. So it is a taxable thing. But there may be ways around having to actually pay the tax on that. Consult a tax attorney when you find it, Jimmy. So get out there and find it and then worry about it. But yeah, all accessions to wealth are taxable. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I wasn't intending for this to be a 25-minute video, but a bunch of people showed up, and it's been fun to see you. But yeah, if you haven't seen some of my other videos that I just posted recently, go watch those. If you haven't commented on them, then comment, because I'd love to hear your feedback. And for Pete's sakes, if you haven't subscribed or like them, then go do that right now. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see the other stuff that I will hopefully be putting out. And yeah, it's pretty fun to see you guys. I'm going to take off because my well, fake lunch break. I'm taking a lunch right now, but I'm going to get back to work. And Jimmy says, thank you. You are welcome, Jimmy. Hopefully it does lead to the end of Fenn's rainbow for you. And yeah, it's been fun to kind of put this stuff out there and get people's feedback to you know, share a little bit what my thinking is for whatever that's worth. Probably not worth a whole lot, but good luck to you guys. Remember, the chase is what you make it. So make it something great. Got it. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.